after I had gotten out of jail, while I was in jail, it finally all dawned on me. All the people who had double-crossed me, or all the weird coincidences, all the times I'd been set up. And because I had 6 months to just sit there and read the classics from the jail library.
Were you in solitary, or how many people were in your cell?
They,
what is life in... Actually, before we start with the actual story, tell me about life in an American prison. All I know about life in a prison is Orange is the New Black, or all these TV shows. That's all I know about U.S. prison. And it seems like it's an absolute nightmare. What is it actually like?
It can be quite bad. It depends on how you want to do your time. It's up to you how you do your time.
But I mean, do you have to affiliate yourself with the skinheads, or the homeboys, or the Latinos?
Well,
or can you like stay out of it?
I don't really know, because my time had nothing to do with a typical prison sentence. For 2 grams of dried mushroom, a nonviolent offense, I was sentenced to 10 years in prison. I ended up doing 2 years, 1 year in jail, which I was by myself all the time. Because I'm in very poor physical condition, and it would be quite easy to kill me. And you get 2 people in a cell, and there's no way to stop one person from hurting another person. You can threaten them with more jail time or new charges or whatever, but if something goes wrong in that cell, you have no way to stop it. The only thing you can do is come in and clean up the mess afterwards. So most of the time, I was in a cell by myself in prison. Although a few times they did put people in the cell to make things more difficult for me. The reason is, I spent the entire year meditating. I would just sit day after day after day meditating, and the days would just fly by. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. And most of the time, they didn't let me out of my cell, and when they did let me out of my cell, it was always a test of compliance, trying to get me to do something, or I would never tell them my number, because you get to number, yes. And I would not shave my face, I would not cut my hair, I would not do these simple things. I would not comply. But I expected them to kill me, so I had in my mind, there was no reason to start something that I had no intention of finishing. Let me explain that. So it's not about cutting your hair or shaving your face or telling your number. It's about getting you to take that first step, so that when they ask you to do the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, and then before you know it, you're working on a weapon system that can kill people. And that's what it ultimately comes down to. And I always knew that I wasn't going to design the weapon system, so I might as well just live each day like it's my last, because I assumed that each day was my last. When I got out of prison, I was surprised to still be alive. They had starved me to the point to where I could no longer walk. I had 7 uses
You mean they did not give you enough food?
Correct. They would lock me in the cell and not let me out, and not give me food for long periods of time. And a few times, for a short, maybe couple of weeks, they would put different people in my cell. And those people were supposed to give me pressure, yes. But the thing is, I don't push very easily. When people push me, maybe not even physically, but when somebody's in my cell to give me a hard time, a difficult time, I'm going to push back. So here I am, starved to death. I could never, almost to death. I couldn't walk anymore. I was in a wheelchair most of the time because I could not walk. And also they found it was easier to push me around the prison in a wheelchair than to get me to comply. So they would put a black man, a big black man in my cell, and they told him to hit me once or twice, but I would continue to irritate him. And these people, they're not in prison because they have excellent impulse control. These people do not have good control over their emotions, and in the prison environment, somebody does something to you, and it's not uncommon for them to just lash out, to hit. So they had put this man in my cell to hit me, but they couldn't get him to stop hitting me, so they had to take him out.
How did he hit you?
You come up in the face and fucking hit you.
Seriously?
Very simple. Or the other guy, the second guy who wanted to go home to his family he never raised while he was out there. I'm sitting in the... one time I'm sitting on the toilet seat. He pushes me off the toilet seat. I could not walk. I could barely stand up, and he pushes me off. Quite simple. I weigh about 100 pounds, and he weighs about 300 pounds. Okay. One of them takes my tray. I had not been eating for many days. They finally give me a food tray, and he'd been told to take the tray out of my hands. I did not give him the food tray, and the food ends up all over the wall and floor. It is quite simple. Okay, so it's not a complicated thing. Getting prisoners to hit one another is not a complicated thing. Getting them to stop hitting each other is much more difficult. So I figure, I didn't get to tell you the part about what this is really all about yet, but by this point I did master more than a PhD's worth of knowledge. I didn't get a PhD for it, but I am valuable. The only reason I'm still here is because I'm valuable. They chose not to kill me. It'd be easy for them to have murdered me, either from a prisoner or from the guards. The coroner wasn't going to ask any questions. The cause of death, natural causes, blunt force trauma to the head, whatever, it doesn't matter. There would never be any investigation, and my family wasn't going to come and ask any questions either. Thanks, family. You straight-laced sons of bitches. Where was I? I'll catch you after the break.